Day 4 is here of the summer refresh retreat, and I'm super excited to talk to you all about how you can have a massive splash, make a splash, have a massive impact in your leadership roles, in your personal life, in anywhere you show up. And this really, for me, taps into really being a visionary leader and having time to really connect to that bigger picture, that vision of the future, that strategic kind of aspect of things that often it's easy to get overlooked, and to really make time and space for that. So I'm super excited to share that all with you today. So pull out your notebooks, your journal, or your blank pieces of paper like I've been doing this week, and let's just jump right in. So if you've missed the previous days, this is the 4th day of this series. You can catch up on the YouTube playlist for the summer refresh retreat, or you can also go to your email if you're on the email list, and you'll get links to each of the videos there, and you can catch up. I'll also link them below in the YouTube comments as well. So there's a variety of places you can catch up if you want to do this, if you are just tuning in with us now, or perhaps you're not going on the same pace that we are and you want to look at them all at the same time over a weekend and do kind of like a condensed retreat. Or perhaps you're doing the opposite and you're spreading things out. So whatever's going to work for you. That's part of why I wanted to have it in video format, and so that you can kind of watch and be inspired when you're ready. So the whole idea around making a splash today, like I said, is really having a positive impact. And I was thinking about making a splash, and it's because it's summertime and it's splashing in the water and stuff that came up to me. But it's not the idea that you're going to get everybody wet and soaked and they're not going to like you. It's more like you're going to make a big impact and people are going to notice. That's the energy around this. And so these are tools and approaches that I've used for years, even over 10 years ago, back when I was first an executive assistant. I used this approach so that I could really show up as a superstar in my community and really lead the community. So I actually ended up creating a community practice at the time that ended up growing into hundreds of people within the organization here on the West Coast of Canada. And then it ended up actually helping give me opportunities to teach other people to create communities of practice across the country. It opened up many, many doors for me. And so that's an example. Perhaps it's not so relevant for you. Maybe you're not an administrator and you don't have to do communities of practice, but by taking the time to think about what is needed, where the organization or your community or your peers, your team, the communities that you serve, your customer base, thinking about their struggles and their difficult points, then you can start to vision, well, what would be a solution for this? What would be able to kind of support them in what they need. And so that's kind of where I went with that idea. And same thing, currently, most recently this past year, I've been a director. I've been a director for 5 years now, but on a board. But this last year has been my first time doing a chair role with an equity committee with an organization of 22,000 employees and $650 million revenue every year. And so I'm kind of in shock, honestly, that I've been able to have this opportunity to lead and help provide the vision for the organization. And so to do that, though, you really need to have time and space to create, time and space to think about what your intention is, and then giving yourself time and space to let those inspiration, that innovation, that vision to really come into you. So that's what I really want to share with you today, is some of those secrets to really tapping into that aspect of leadership. I found for me, when I'm really strong on that visionary area, you can do amazing things, even if it's outside of perhaps your own accountability and authority circles. You can do amazing things, and you can get people on board to help support you in what it is you're trying to do. So this is something that I've been growing and building over many, many years now. And visionary leadership is actually one of my kind of superpowers or my strengths. And so that's why I wanted to share this with you today. So one of the most important things that I find that is crucial to this, that so many leaders miss, is the time and space, like I mentioned. And before you get up into doing, you're going to take time to plan. But even before you plan, you need to have the vision of where you're going to go, right? So giving yourself time and space is the secret. And I know many leaders, many of my clients over the past few years, especially CEOs, vice presidents, regional managers, and directors, and all of that kind of stuff. It's easy to get caught in the doing, in the daily tasks, in the meetings, in the staffing of your new, if you have openings or you're expanding your team, maybe you're restructuring and letting people go. Maybe you have this new project, you switched into virtual environment more than you have in previous years. All these kinds of things take up time and energy and focus, right? But if we get too stuck focused in the minute details, then without looking at the big picture, then you end up actually kind of getting into that overwhelmed state. If you're ever feeling like, you're barely keeping up, there's no time to kind of really do stuff. You're feeling overwhelmed, like you just can't keep track of everything. This is the problem. The problem is you're looking too much down in the details and not looking up and out at the bigger picture. And then what we're going to do today is actually have visionary, where we're going to get even past that. We're not even going to be looking at what's there and kind of being strategic. We're going to the next level, which would be, well, what's possible? And so this is super fun, and I'm all jazzed, even just the idea of sharing this with you. So I have some ideas and some kind of tactical, I guess, processes to use to get you to that state of mind. So one thing I would recommend you do today for our little exercise, to give you an example of how this is going to work, is pick one project or one problem in your organization or your team or within your other leaders, or whatever it's going to be, one thing to focus on, one project that you want to address. Or maybe you want to have it open-ended to say, well, what could I be focusing on right now? What is a visionary thing that I can be bringing into my day-to-day work? You can use this in your personal life too, but I really want to focus this on visionary leadership within your professional life today. You can use the same approach in your personal life as well. And it can be a small thing, or, it could be a really big complex thing of something that you're doing, like this director role that I've been in right now, where we're leading and transforming the organization to be more diverse and equitable and inclusive. That's not a small project. This is probably a 5 to 10 year kind of process that we're looking at, and includes all of the people in the organization, all the stakeholders, how we're doing our strategy. It touches all areas of the business. So it's not necessarily going to all come together, this vision and this picture, in one day. It's kind of an evolutionary process. If it's a small thing, maybe it's you have a process that's not working and you're not really sure how to fix it. That's going to be much easier to kind of look at than maybe like this big transformative change, right? So it depends on what you're looking at. So first step would be picking the topic, the project, the thing that you want to get some visionary inspiration on. And my theme for 2022 is actually inspired ease. And so why I picked that was because I wanted to tune into what we're talking about today. Everything that we've covered so far this week is really to get you to this state, right? So we looked at getting everything out of your head that you have on your to-do list, on your wish list, and getting your goals together for the next 90 days. So you kind of get that stuff, all that jumbly stuff out and on paper. Then on day 2, we talked about addressing some of the drains or the things you've been tolerating or that aren't working, right? So to really kind of address some immediate problem issues. And then on day 3, yesterday, we actually talked about filling your energy gas tank up so you can get to overflow, so you're not drained and empty, right? So we talked about those things. And the whole purpose of those is to get ready for this stage, this place where you're out of overwhelm and you're going to be able to get to overflow, where you can now get into that visionary, strategic, bigger picture, creative, innovative state. And you can do this same sort of process with your team members as well, with your colleagues, and really take them through this kind of a journey in your own way. Share this with them. I'm sure they would love it too if you are, and loving it too. So really, I'm excited. Today is where it kind of really lands. This is where we get to move things forward and make a splash. So you pick the thing, and then What I'd recommend we do actually is not just create space like we have already, where you're going to do some self-care, you're going to get some exercise, maybe you're going to have some rest, maybe you want to travel or go for a walk. There's active rest, or there's kind of like passive rest. And in both processes, you're going to receive innovation and inspiration and visionary kind of aspects there as well. But I want to take it even deeper. I want to give you an actual boost into a brainwave state, the theta brainwave state, that will actually flip that switch immediately into that visionary self, right? So you can get there through flow activities. You can get there through exercise or rest, when you're in that pre-dreamy state. That's there as well. But today I want to take you through a mini meditation, a little mini guided meditation that will flip you into that state more quickly. Now, obviously, the more you practice anything, you're going to be able to do it more quickly. So I've been meditating for many years. I taught meditation in years past. So this is why I wanted to share some meditation with you. I've been teaching this many years in the past, but to bring meditation into the leadership aspect and using it as a tool to evoke that mind state that you're looking for can be really powerful. And there's a variety of different brainwave states that will give you different sort of energy. One will wake you up, another one will make you calm and centered and present. And I want to go to one of the more deeper states, which is the theta wave state, where you're tapping into more of your creative, intuitive, daydreaming, kind of inspiring, kind of creating energy. So what I encourage you to do is just kind of listen along if you want to participate. You can close your eyes if you'd like. You can lay down if you want, whatever's going to feel good. You can just quietly sit there and just listen. And you don't have to technically meditate with, along with it, but just kind of listen and see what comes up. And then what we'll do afterwards is we're going to kind of write out the inspiration that came out, right? So this is really fun. I did this, I think, a year or so ago in an intuitive strategy workshop that I did for some of my community members. And it was really fun. The whole idea was, again, same side of my thing, to really tap into your existing wisdom, your existing knowledge, your understanding of the situation, and see the creativity that comes out. So we're going to do that here today. So let's just tap in here for a second. I'm going to close my eyes because that's how I like to meditate. I actually am going to put my hands like this, and what this does is it kind of gives you an open posture while also connecting the two hemispheres of the brain. So that kind of gives you a bit more of a kind of holistic sort of connection with your body and your mind. So I'm just going to sit here for a minute, and if you'd like to join me, we'll just tap into our breath for a minute. So don't do this if you're driving. Maybe pull over or just save this for another time. And but if you're in somewhere where you can just relax peacefully for a minute, then that's great. So just encourage you to relax your face and let your shoulders drop. Rest your hands without holding them up. Even let your whole body just kind of sit in the chair or lay back if you're laying down. And just kind of let yourself become grounded and find this natural neutral posture that your body feels a lack of tension. You're not holding yourself up. You're not pushing yourself to be upright. You're not slumped over so things are pinched. Just find that kind of gentle spot to rest. And then we'll bring your awareness to your breath. Maybe you want to do 3 big breaths in and out. And this just signals to your body that it's time to rest. Breathing in and expanding your stomach as you inhale, and then exhaling naturally. That triggers your parasympathetic nervous system, tells it it's time to relax. Even this alone, if you're feeling spun up, anxious, hectic, stressed, just doing the belly breath can really ground you and switch out of that immediately. Bring you back to the present, bring you back to your calm state. And then what I encourage you to do, I know you're listening and you're probably thinking, but maybe try not to think so much, not really be forcing the thought and squishing the brain to think hard. See if you can just kind of Relax and soften the forehead. Soften the brain inside if you can. And just kind of let your head open and relax. So instead of holding your brain like you're holding it in your hand and squishing it like a ball, imagine that you're opening up the palm of your hand and letting your brain and your head and your neck and all that efforting around thinking just relax. And then we'll take a couple more breaths here. And then I invite you to tap into that item that we were talking about, that one thing that you'd like some inspiration on today. Maybe it's a project or a transformation you're creating. Maybe it's something in your leadership of your team. Maybe it's how you're showing up in your own life, personally or professionally as a leader. Whatever it's going to be for you today. And maybe it's nothing. Maybe you're just open for inspiration of any kind. Whatever it's going to be, just gently bring that into your mind for a minute. And then let it go. And using inspiration is like planting a seed. So we'll plant that little seed and then we will let it go. And we'll give it space to blossom. And part of working with inspirational leadership and inspirational living really is around using that intention. And then, like I said earlier, giving space for it to come to you, for the ideas to come, the opportunities to come, the people to come into your life, the kind of ideas or innovation or encouragement all can kind of come in once you have that initial intention set. And by knowing what your intention is, you start to see, oh, this might be a good idea that's to support that thing. Oh, this thing might come in as well that might be helpful. And so not only are we going to be open to receiving that kind of inspiration in our minds, but it's also in our day-to-day lives as well. So today, before we wrap up here, just invite you to kind of just rest with your breath. If your mind starts thinking too much, that's okay. We're actually not forcing quiet here today, but we're actually inviting things to bubble up. Maybe an idea flits past your awareness like a butterfly. And maybe it touches down on your mind for a moment like a butterfly would on a flower. You say, hey, isn't that neat? Look at that. How interesting. Maybe that could be an interesting idea. And then the butterfly flies up back into the air and disappears into the sky. And then just rest here in the moment. And the longer that you sit in meditation, or the more you've practiced it, the easier it will be to get into this theta state. So I'll just sit here for a moment, giving you space without my voice to see what comes up. It may look like pictures, it may be a thought, it may be words, it may be emotions or colors, or maybe nothing. You may just be thinking about your grocery list for the day, and that's fine too. If you're feeling distracted, tap back into that intention that you're wondering about, and you could even ask yourself a question. A question like, what would be helpful here? Where would I like it to go? What kind of transformation would I like to create? And then what would be most fun? What would be exciting and fun? What would be easy? What would be exciting? Who could help you in this? And is there anything else that comes to mind here before we close the session? Anything else that you might want to play with here? And then if you'd like, I invite you to bring a smile to your face and let that happiness radiate down and into your body, out to your hands and your fingers and the top of the head and down your feet and out your heart. And then we'll close the meditation here. You can start wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Maybe you want to stretch, open your eyes, and there we go. So that's a little bit of a guided meditation. I encourage you now to write down what it is that's come up, and then what is that you'd like to do today. And then that's it. And tomorrow, I'm excited to take this even further. So what we've done today and up until now is what I share in my Design to Thrive 90-day corporate coaching program for leaders in their organizations. And so if this is something that you're interested in, I would absolutely love to support you in that program. And I'll share a link below in all the comments here. So I'd love to support you. It's super fun to get to that thriving state, and then the fun happens, right? So we do the kind of that initial homework to get you to this thriving state. Once you're in this state regularly, it's amazing the impact that you can make. It's incredible how you can show up every day and how that transforms your teams, your organization, your impact, your personal life, your family, your loved ones, your community, all of it. So thanks for tuning in. We have one more day left, day 5. I'm going to be talking about the 5 to 7 S's as we expand beyond what we've done today into the future. And so I can't wait to tell you all about that. And then that will wrap up our retreat. So thanks for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you all again tomorrow. Bye-bye.